Hello and welcome to the first Women Today podcast of 2016, a look back at some of our highlights from the past 5 days and the first week with Christy D as part of the team. And this week we have talked about the challenges of step parenting, found out about a brand new online dating site created and due to be launched from here in the Isle of Man in the next few weeks, and we have discussed the rising popularity of vlogging. But first, what better way to start the new year than with some inspiration from the Isle of Man's only singing drag queen, Vida La Fierce.
I don't really need to look very much further. I don't want to have to go where you don't follow. I won't hold it back again. There's passion inside. I can't run from myself. There's nowhere to hide. Well, don't make me close one more door. I don't want to hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. Or must I imagine you're there? Don't walk away from me. I have nothing, nothing, nothing if I don't have you.
Vida, where did you come from? Good question.
In what way? What planet? Or
I just wonder, how were you born? How was Vida born?
I don't actually know how it happened. I've always loved getting on stage, and I think I just sort of started experimenting with makeup, and then I thought, no, this is actually what I want to do. This is quite fun. And things like RuPaul's Drag Race, that I watch religiously, and everyone should watch it.
It's very funny.
It's brilliant, isn't
great.
it? It's kind of like America's Next Top Model, but with drag queens. So there's, a lot more cattiness, and it's just great viewing. But it also has a massive heart, the show, as well. So, these people are all on journeys and stuff. So it makes you see the person behind it as well. And people think that drag queens are just this weird sort of putting on women's clothes and just being a little bit crazy. But a lot of the drag queens I see, there's immense talent involved in it. There's so many different types of drag queens as well. There's like singing queens like myself. There's sort of comedy queens, and then there's really artsy out there queens as well. And there's a lot of crossover in between all of them. There's so many different types of drag, and it's a big adventure.
And what sort of reaction does Vida get from family and friends?
Family and friends, pretty supportive. It's at the end of the day, it's not a lifestyle choice. It's Vida's a character that I play. So it's effectively a very long duration acting job, which is fun. But like friends, amazingly supportive. They are great over it. Reactions from like public people, first thing normally is exactly what I got when I walked in here about, my God, you're tall. Because I'm 6'3" as a boy, and then I have these ridiculous heels on, so I'm probably about 7 foot.
Yeah, I'm a little bit smaller next to you, just a tad. Yes, just came up to the magnificent cleavage, I think. But in terms of the Isle of Man, Vida, how receptive is the island? Because, I mean, let's be honest, we haven't been known for forward thinking for many years, really.
We've not been known for it, but the Isle of Man is a lot more forward thinking than a lot of people give it credit for. In the last sort of 15 years, there's been a massive change. I had big trouble at school, and for the whole gay thing, and the Isle of Man's really, really come on loads, and it's a great place. People don't bat an eyelid now, and I don't know whether it's times have moved on. Like, there's a lot of gays in the media, and everything's okay, but everyone deserves the right to get on with their life, and be happy, regardless of colour, gender, race, orientation, anything. So as long as people are nice to each other, that's how it gets better.
I mean, we were hearing on Mandate on Mates Radio this morning about the fact that hopefully same-sex marriage could be on the island before the summer. I mean, presumably that's something that you're applauding.
Absolutely, yeah. I dream of a day where we don't have to call it gay marriage and we can just call it marriage, because I can't remember. I think it might have been George Takei or someone said, I didn't gay park my car. I parked it. I didn't go for gay lunch. I had lunch. So it's like, marriage is marriage, whether it's between, two men, two women, a man, a woman, and, that's fine. Let people just love each other. Where's the harm?
So you are the only drag queen on the island.
As far as I'm aware, I think I'm the only working one. And I think I'm the only non-imported one. There have been some imported before, but they were probably sent back because they didn't get their import license or something like that.
So you mentioned that you are a singing drag queen. So what exactly do you do?
I sing and wildly throw shade at people. That's basically making jokes about people it's lightly bitchy, but it's not meant with malice. It's a lot harder to do that on audio because you sort of, the face lets them know it's a joke, but it's all sort of light-hearted picking, but mostly the singing. Obviously I'm a big fan of soul music and the divas and disco, and TT week I did sort of quite a bit of classic rock, so I went for more Cher, Tina Turner, and there were a few jaws dropped when a drag queen started belting out AC/DC, but that was fun, and it's nice to do something that people don't expect once in a while.
Vida La Fierce, have you got any resolutions?
I don't make resolutions because I have no willpower, so I will only end up breaking them. The only resolution that I will go with is start the new year being a better person than you were last year, and you're going pretty much in the right direction. Find a passion, do something that puts a smile on people's faces, and if it's not breaking laws or hurting anyone, then to hell with it, do it.
Oh, I love that.
That is brilliant.
That should be our mantra. I like it. But of course, we couldn't talk to Russell Grant without asking him what the future held for us. And this is what he had to say, starting with me, a Capricorn with a birthday coming up this weekend, girls, just in case.
Hint.
Just putting it out there. And apparently, perhaps, I shouldn't have bothered coming into work today if the stars are to be believed.
She's starting just before her return, her solar return. So that will mean, yes, she's going to need at least 6 to 7 days to get in the stride, because it's only when she gets to her return, she will have what we call a solar return chart from the 10th of January, and that's when she will then come into her own. It's massive transformations for her, of which this is obviously forms a part of, but the most important thing for her is to learn to let go of things she no longer needs, and in fact, we talked about feng shui and decluttering. This is the perfect week to declutter all of those things in her life that she no longer needs. People, places, possessions, whatever it is. So it's a time of great reward through getting rid of.
Gosh, I hope she's not going to get rid of me.
I didn't think so. You better tell me your sign now.
Well, mine is the 26th of February and it's Pisces.
Pisces, well, you've been going through a lot of Neptune stuff. And Neptune's a planet of romance, but also psychic and spiritual. The fact that you're going into this colouring in a big way doesn't surprise me, because Neptune is what I call the Hollywood planet. It's sophistication, it's technicolor. So this is a time when you need to bring colour into your life, and I don't just mean with my colouring book. You need to do it through your home and your work and everywhere else. You need to bring colours in that make you feel good when you look at them. I've just used yellow, which is not my favourite colour, but it's the colour of intellect. So I've used this wonderful creamy yellow in my study. So when I write, I'm surrounded by a really warm, cozy colour. And that's what you've got to do in your life, is find colours. Neptunian colours tend to be the aquamarines, the sea greens, those beautiful Piscean hues. It's all in the book. Have a read. It will tell you. Because under each colour, I actually give a planet and a sign associated with it.
And then we've got Christy finally. That's the 19th of April, so that's Aries.
So very, very much the end of Aries, though, and she's coming onto the cusp of Taurus, although she will definitely be sun sign Aries. Her changes will come in approximately 2.5 to 3 years' time, and they will be dramatic changes for her. She may even decide to leave the island and move away. So this particular time for her is to enjoy what she's got and take great note of the things that she has in her life, because very soon she will get restless and with a desire for freedom and to break free. And very often with the Uranian aspects, which is what she's going to have, there comes a desire to do something big and new and go off on an adventure.
Whoa. Restless and a desire for freedom.
So basically, you've got me for about 2 or 3 years, then I'm moving to Scunthorpe.
Just before the break, we were talking to Sammy Leahy just about your career primarily, but I did mention a creative outlet, and you've got part of a saddle in a plastic bag next to you, Sammy. Why?
Well, you were asking about my equestrian business, which I do quite a few different things, but the creative side, I think after a number of years of doing highbrow big commercial transactions as a lawyer, I wanted to let that creative side come out. So I went and, with my love of horses, went to the Society of Master Saddlers and started doing various courses. And one of them was I really wanted to understand how to fit saddles better, because as a rider, it can be one of the areas that is a big concern to you, that you don't damage your horse, that your horse is moving as freely as it can. It's an athlete. It's got a big skeleton, loads of muscles. You know, we all know ourselves, if you hurt something, you can point at it, whereas a horse can't. So the understanding of how a saddle works was a big drive for me. So yes, I have a tree here, which is not something that people normally see as a saddle. It's basically the chassis of the saddle, and it's
taking
quite
it out in the background to display for everyone in the studio.
This is really good TV stuff for everyone.
We'll take a video and put it online.
But yeah, it's quite an interesting thing, and there's so many different styles and shapes of tree that you can get. But that is basically what you build the saddle onto, and you would not believe the amount of nails and different processes that go in. Hundreds and hundreds of nails get hammered into that as you sort of go through the various layers of everything that eventually creates your saddle that's comfortable for the horse and comfortable for the rider.
Do you know, I feel really ignorant because I've never really thought about the process of making a saddle and how they all have to be almost tailor-made.
Almost, yes. I mean, there's a certain amount of adjustment you can do, and trees have developed a bit, over the centuries and years. Technology is very much at the forefront of the sort of saddlery business, although old tried and tested methods are still pretty good. I mean, leather is still the preferred material to use. Wool is still used as the flocking, which is more the sort of padded area that sits between the saddle and the tree and the horse's back. So a lot of processes which have been used for a long time are still being used, but little designs and even the stirrup bar where the stirrups attach onto is changing. So yeah, it's interesting.
I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of you, Sammy. You've got some pretty impressive tools there as well.
I have, yes. I've got Christy's just bringing out the very sharp implement.
Just be careful.
It is very sharp. So that's to actually cut the leather. She's testing it now. Please don't.
Don't worry, I'm not bleeding yet.
We haven't got a nurse today. Be careful.
No. And yes, I could bandage you up if you're a horse, but I'm not so good at human first aid.
Is that a whip?
But this is not a whip, Joe. No, this is a flocking iron. This is what you use when the saddle is sort of all put together. If you need to put any more flocking into the panel, there's little slits in the actual panel that you sort of take a little bit of the wool out and push it in, and it's quite a skillful process, because you can't have lumps of wool which would then be a lump on the horse's back and cause it injury. So you've got to get that really sort of soft and in a good even finish.
Does it make a huge difference to the horse, and or actually who does it affect more, the horse or the rider, to have a perfectly bespoke saddle?
The horse primarily. If you try to ride a horse in a saddle that doesn't fit, you're going to damage it. There are different types of horses, as there are different types of people. Some horses will put up with it for a bit and try their hardest. Some will just throw you off, and then you can get anything in between. But basically, there are sharp edges on the tree. If any of those bits don't align with the horse's back, you can have problems, pressure points, sores. You might get away with it for a few months, but after a while it will start to become more and more sore, and you've got a rider on top who's then different sense of balance, different weight. When they stand up in their stirrups, there's more pressure at the front of the saddle. When they're jumping, there's a heck of a lot of pressure as they land after a jump on the front of the saddle. So, yeah, the sort of ability for damage to be done is quite big. So it should be checked, ideally, at least every 6 months.
And how
Anyway.
long, Sammy, would it take you to make something like that you have in front of us there?
A saddle. Me, it would take quite a while. The one I have made a saddle as part of my training, and that was under instruction, so it was sort of in a week. It was in 10 days. But people who are doing this all the time, it's a lot quicker. But you get all these sort of laser presses now where they are sort of cutting the leather with a computer rather than with one of the tools I've brought in. So it depends how you do it, whether it's totally handmade or parts of it are used by computers. So.
Do you think you could get one of those kits, Christy, that maybe we could try and build your own saddle? No?
Yes, maybe you could see if there's any Play-Doh at home.
Might be safer. Speaking of safer, sorry, I
don't know where that link came
You
from.
just didn't say Play-Doh.
That's true, actually. I actually found that fascinating. Like you, I had a horse when I was growing up. I was a teenager, and I was really into horse riding and looking after the horse. Never occurred to me to actually wonder every time I put a saddle on where it actually came from and the process that went into. Well, that's quite fascinating. Then, all those tools are a bit scary. One does look like a pizza cutter, so it makes me feel slightly hungry.
Now, in Britain today, around 1 in 3 people are involved in a step family situation. And that's when someone has children and they marry or cohabit again. It's clearly not an easy journey to embark on. And once again, there is a wide range of advice about how these relationships should be handled to make sure that children especially are not adversely affected. But advice and guidelines are all very well, but what is the reality in 2016 for step parenting, or the blended family as it is otherwise known? Well, we're joined live today by Dave Hogg, who has 2 children of his own and is stepfather to 3 others. Dave, thank you so much for being with us. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you faced in this situation?
I think from my own experience, probably the biggest challenge is coming in with a very open mind. And perhaps everything that you think you know about parenting, getting ready to put that on the back burner and ready to start again, I think. I think it's important to put yourself in the children's perspective, both your own and your new partner's children. So if you think about it logically, those children have grown up in an environment which is very normal to them. Traditions, everything from, leaving socks on the floor through to what they eat at dinner on a Friday night. And so what you do in your own family is very different to other people's families. And then all of a sudden you're bringing those 2 families together with quite a big clash, really. And it's just recognising some of the pitfalls that you can fall into and trying to deal with them in a kind of considerate and thoughtful manner. The other thing to also be aware of is that you become very protective of your own children. And you might not even realise that you're doing that. But something that you would say to your own child, if you were to say it to your stepchild, your partner may take that the wrong way. And I think both of us have both felt that over the last kind of 5 or 6 years, that often we'll say things and it's perfectly normal to us, but it can be read the wrong way and taken the wrong way.
What about things like discipline with that regard then? I mean, I'm guessing that must be one of the most tricky areas.
It's really difficult, yeah, because obviously with your own kids, if they're annoying you, you can just say, "Oi, so-and-so, stop doing that." But when they're stepchildren, and I hate using the term stepchildren, but I guess it's the term that we have. But I see them as my own children now after 5 or 6 years. But with your stepchildren, you're less of that kind of parent as a kind of teacher and more try and adopt more of a mentor approach. So instead of saying, "Don't do that," you try and say, "Oh, is there a different way that we can do that? Or have you thought about maybe if we come at it from this angle?" So it's a constant thought process that you always have to be aware of.
We are talking about step parenting this afternoon, and we're joined live in the studio by Dave Hogg, who has 2 children of his own and is stepfather to another 3 after his second marriage. Now, at the start of the programme, Dave, you were talking about one of the challenges being going in with an open mind and just accepting that maybe the style of parenting that you're used to may not necessarily be applicable in this case. Did you have a definite idea of the sort of step parent that you actually wanted to be?
I had an idea of a step parent I didn't want to be, which was the stereotypical what you see in the old fairy tales, that the step parent is always the evil one. So that's what I didn't want to be. I did a lot of reading on the topic before we all moved in together. And actually, just before I get onto that, it's probably worth saying that my wife and I took a conscious decision to really take things slowly when it came to the children. So just because we'd come together didn't necessarily mean that we could throw all the children together. Now, coincidentally, we happened to live in the same street when I moved back to the Isle of Man. So that was fantastic. My children came over once a month and we made sure that I still had time with them. And then what we gradually did was say, well, we'll just pop up and see Ruth and we'll see the family up there. And so over a period of 12 months, we'd go out on walks and picnics, but we were very conscious not to tell the children they had to be together. And it just happened itself, really. I think it was about 12 months later, it was Christmas, and the kids all said, oh, can we all stay over together? And they all slept in the same room on camp beds. And it just really went from there. And then it was about 18 months until we all moved in together. At that point then, I thought it was really important to read up on the subject. And actually, when I did an internet search, the horrifying thing I saw first was that of second marriages which fail, the 90% of those are due to the family not integrating properly. So that was kind of the headline news. So I knew then that we really had to get this right. And so did some more reading on the subject. We looked at things like when we all came together, it was important that the children all had their own space. So we were in a very fortunate situation that we were able to buy a house where all the kids had their own bedroom, but we weren't. There was no, it was equal. So no child was made to force to be with the other one. So everyone had space where they could go and really go and just be on their own if they wanted to. We looked at, as a family, sitting down and almost creating our own traditions from the outset. So, okay, you do that, we do that. Hey, why don't we do this on Christmas Day? Why don't we do this on a Sunday? And it all just happens that naturally. It's about not forcing it, but being aware of the pitfalls and the things that you can get wrong, and trying to be really thoughtful and think, okay, well, how do the children react when I say this?
Women Today, brought to you by citywing.com. For your next flight away.
We have been finding out about a nursing degree course which is starting over here in September. You've got until January the 29th to apply, and we really wanted to know what it's like to take this opportunity. So we are joined now by two students, Alex Lambie, who's a first year student specialising in mental health, and Annabelle McLean, who's in her second year of the adult nursing degree. Now, Annabelle, first of all, I have to ask you, when you were a little girl, did you have the nurse's outfit and did you practice on all your teddies and dollies?
No, I did not. I set fire to my Barbie heads.
I like
not
this
that
girl.
kind of little girl.
So you wanted to be a hairdresser then?
No, not at all.
I'm guessing that didn't come up during the recruitment interview. Yeah. What was it then that made you think that this course was for you?
Well, I work in a nursing home in Ramsey, and I started there when I was 16. And I think working with the elderly really, I didn't even want to work as a nurse. I just loved working with the elderly in the activities department there, and I think that really spurred me on. And I went to college and did a healthcare course, and that just took me even further. And then I found out about the course and gave it a shot, and here I am, second year.
And what difference has it made, the fact that you can do this completely over here?
A massive difference. I wasn't interested in going to university across in the UK. It was not something I thought about. So when I found out it was here, it really spurred me on to apply, and it's been really beneficial for me.
Well, Alex, you were in your first year.
Yeah.
What made you want to do this?
For the last 6 or 7 years, I've been working in residential childcare. So I came across children with pretty challenging behaviours, and the mental health aspect of it really kind of stimulated me. But I wasn't aware of this course until about 1.5 years ago, and going back to uni, I went to uni when I was 18. It didn't work out. I didn't think I'd ever have the opportunity to do it again, because going across to do another course just wasn't feasible financially and for other reasons. So when I found out that there was an opportunity for me to do it on island 5 minutes away from where I live, I jumped at it and was really lucky and grateful to get on the course. Yeah.
You know, when you think about a career in the medical profession, you tend to imagine it being long hours, really hard work. You both have to do some of that practical side. Annabelle, how's that going so far?
It's really good. I think I'm now on one of the wards in Nobles, and it really gives you an insight into how, the medical profession is run, and getting to work with lots of other medical professionals is fantastic. It really opens up your mind to lots of different things. It's really good.
Assessment for this is ongoing throughout the 3 years. Annabelle, how's that side of it?
It's really good. It is. It's hard work. It's very difficult. especially when you're having to have assignments handed in while you're working full-time on placement. It's challenging, but you have to just get it done. And going back to the support, the lecturers are absolutely fantastic. They're there 24/7. If you are in the middle of the night and you need to ring them for a little bit of help, they are there for you. And, you don't get that in the UK. Not at all.
Alex, going back to studying, has it been okay?
Yeah, it's pretty daunting at first, but I think once you get past that first kind of essay and realise that your leaders and tutors, they want you to pass as much as you do, there's nobody trying to catch you out, you get more used to it.
And just very finally then, Alex and Annabelle, what are your ambitions, I guess, with regard to going into the workplace once you finish this course?
Well, I'm a kind of open book, I must admit. We do so many placements in different areas that I'm enjoying everything I'm seeing at the moment, so I'm not going to tie myself down to anything. But I worked with kids before and I loved that, so that's a plan. But I've worked with elderly people recently and I've loved that as well, so I'm just kind of seeing how things go.
And Annabelle?
My passion is the elderly, especially those with dementia. I think one day I want to open my own nursing home or dementia unit. Give that a crack.
Vlogging, why is it so popular? We're getting into it ourselves here on Women Today, aren't we?
A little bit, yeah. Go to our page. We've got videos galore. Saddles and seaweed.
Ooh. Tempting.
The Isle of Man boasts one of the earliest vloggers in our very own Becky Flint. You'll hear her speaking in just a few minutes. I only really cottoned on to just how much of a big thing it's become when I saw two very pretty young men, Joe Sugg and Casper Lee, on a TV chat show at the end of last year. I assumed they were the next big thing in music because they looked like mini rock stars. But no, they're just guys that make videos of themselves doing things like pranking each other and taking on daft challenges from their fans. Joe and Casper's videos have more than 1 billion views combined, and a DVD they released recently broke Amazon and iTunes' first day release record. Hardly surprising when you hear these guys have 10 million subscribers to their channel. Here's a clip from their video Crush on Roommate's Sister, which has had 9 million views.
Someone dared me to get my arms waxed by you. I assume it was Viner who sent in the dare.
3, 2, 1... 0, -1, minus... Did it even work?
Oh! Yeah, definitely one for the teens, that one. Then there's people like Zoella. Ever heard of her? Nope, me neither. And yet this 24-year-old appears on the Band-Aid single alongside One Direction and has been photographed for Vogue, all because of a little beauty vlog she started that has a cool 6.5 million subscribers.
Look how cute! She is one of the rising stars of the global video blogging world.
That's horrible.
Hello everybody, it is I, Zoe, and this is Alfie, my boyfriend. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did this gold eye, bold staple red lip look.
Right, I am here joined by Becky Krul, aka Becky Flint, who's come in especially to talk to me about vlogging, because I'm trying to learn about YouTube and all that kind of thing, Becky. So, you've been doing this for quite some time. When did you actually start?
I actually started my YouTube channel in 2007, I think, so it's a really, really long time.
You're like way ahead of the crowd on this, weren't you?
YouTube began in 2006, so I was 1 year after it opened, really, yeah.
Wow, what was your very first video?
Oh my goodness. I think my very first video is like a video of my old cat sleeping, which is nice because he's not with us anymore, but it's nice to have that memory still on my channel.
And then obviously you started putting yourself on screen, and before you did the dance, obviously, that made you very famous, you did just do some little videos of yourself to start with, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, my channel has changed so much over the years. I started out doing like random little vloggy stuff, just like playing with like the editing software on my mum's laptop. Like I was only about 12 or 13 years old, so I was just like, oh, I'm going to share this with the world. And I only got like maybe 100 views max on my videos. But when I started doing the dancing, things kind of started, building up and up a bit more. And suddenly, like, I had about 200 emails, and it just kept on going up and up, and I had no idea what had happened. From that, I was able to go to Japan and perform there and, do my dances in real life on stages in Japan, and it just, forged this massive career for me, which is amazing.
So you presumably were one of the first internet sensations then, really?
I was one of the very early ones. There were a few like old school kind of viral videos around that time, but it's definitely nothing compared to like, you know, nowadays. Like the whole game has changed so much. Now a lot more people are aware of it and viewing it, and so things are kind of, you know, put in front of a wider audience. Like my video Danjo has 3 million views, which is massive at the time. I know, and it's massive today. And when you think about that number, that's huge. But nowadays, viral video isn't like even properly viral, isn't even, you know, going to be on the news unless it's got at least 10 million, 15, 20 million views. That's numbers which I think my channel's got total 21 million views. That's just, some people get that in just one video.
Now, if you are a regular Women's Day listener, you may remember that back at the end of October, we had a special programme to mark Hoptunay, or Halloween to the uninitiated. And we were joined in the studio by Alan Shaw from Isle of Man Ghost Tours and Emma Wells, who's a medium. And we decided then it would be a good idea to organise a ghost hunt here at Manx Radio. If it could be a bright sunny day, brilliant.
Better at night, in the dark.
Much better. You use all your senses when it's pitch black.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
So, true to their word, Alan and Emma picked a stormy, dark night last week for it. And here is how we got on. I was just talking to Ben Hartley before, and he is convinced he heard Terry Kringle's typewriter going on its own.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't believe Ben Hartley on that one, I'm sorry.
No. Okay, right. We're going to be okay. Let's just go do it.
Will you hold my hand?
Yeah, okay, let's go. We are in the kitchen here at Manx Radio. Alan Shaw, you have a box full of tricks with you. Explain what's going on here.
Yeah, we've got 3 boxes with us tonight. This is the general standard ghost hunting equipment that we use. A lot of the meters we have are EMF, electromagnetic fields, also as well EVP, electronic voice phenomena, which is hopefully what we're going to pick up tonight for you.
I'm Eve Kelly, and I also help Alan with Isle of Man Ghost Tours and our ghostly investigations. And over the years, I've been using dowsing rods and dowsing crystals. Some people are very sceptical, they're quite frightened about using them, and it's always interesting to see when somebody actually gets the dowsing rods to cross or spin round, and they've never used them before and they think it's all a trick, and then they find out, no, it isn't. So we'll give you a go later and you can have a go yourself.
And for you, presumably, you've always been open to this type of thing.
I've always kept an open mind. Too many people experience too many things. I'm not a medium, I don't see or hear anything. I just have learnt to go with gut reactions.
So then Kate had a go with the dowsing rods.
Where are the taps?
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Oh, that's really creepy.
What did you just do then?
They just moved without. I wasn't doing anything. That was really, really creepy, and they just pointed exactly where the taps are.
We've got an idea of a man that's with us at the moment, and he's quite self-important. He's only given me the date of 1990. He's wearing a suit, and he's very hard to communicate with because he's got an air of authority, so I'm struggling to actually communicate with him. So he's very, very good on the rods. So she's just given me a little bit of a hand to see if you guys can see the answers that we're getting, see if it gives us a way in.
So both Kate and Eve have got rods now. So technically, if we're talking to someone, they should both be the same.
They should both be the same. We should both get the same answers on both rods. And of course, that's also like a test.
Okay.
So it's a test that we can do to show that Eve's not manipulating the rods, because we could try and get the same answers.
Okay, let's give it a go then.
Okay. Right, Mr. Elliott, now that we both are holding the dowsing rods out, can you tell us again, did you work in the advertising field? Okay, we have both sets of dowsing rods crossing positively. Thank you very much.
How's it feel, Kate?
It's really bizarre.
Ghost hunt is over. We are still, fairly brave, standing in Manx Radio reception. How are you feeling?
I don't know how I feel, actually. Do you know what? Not as scary as I thought. Weirdly calm and quite warm and comforting in a strange way. But yeah, I don't know how I feel. I really don't. It's made me a bit confused.
Yeah, I'm definitely not as scared as I was when we started out. I feel kind of, quite calm about it. There were a couple of moments which were just a little bit difficult to explain maybe, but yeah, I'd quite fancy going on another one, I reckon.
Yeah, and you'll be all right now if I just leave you in Manx Radio on your own and I'll go off again.
Oh no, Kate, no, come back. Kate, no, don't leave. Kate. Oh, all right. I'm okay. It's fine. If you've missed any of last week's programmes, you can listen again on demand at manxradio.com. And don't forget to check us out on the Women Today Facebook page and at MR Women Today on Twitter.